Hey dudes, welcome back to another episode of our Rhomas Men's Team podcast. You are about to listen to one of our prior team meetings. If you ever want to join one of our live sessions that we have every Monday and Friday, head over to rhomas.com. That's RHOMAS.com, and put your email in and we will send you a live link every time we record. We generally record on Mondays and Fridays. So if you ever want to be on the actual podcast, like we bring men up all the time to talk about their goals, talk about their obstacles, etc., head over to rhomas.com. And then also, if you want to help support the channel grow and also have access to exclusive content, book reviews, extra whiteboard sessions, etc., and some coaching sessions, head over to patreon.com and support us. We would love it. But if not, no biggie. We'll see you on the live sessions. Later, dudes. Enjoy this podcast.
We are live, dude. What is up?
What's up, everyone? ASB, what's up? Don, Matthew Bland, I just saw Gunther. What's up?
What's up, players?
Ray,
dude,
crushing it.
Another week, man. They come by so fast.
They do come by so fast.
It's Friday, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, here we go again.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things is that, like, there's certain things that you can do, I think, to kind of slow down the perception of time. One of them, I think, I heard over the weekend was great. I forget who was talking about it, but he read in a book about, I think it was like called storylining your life, which is take one thing. Well, two concepts I loved. He said, do one thing per day. I forget what he called it, but let's say non-negotiable. Like that's your one goal that you're trying to accomplish for the day. Anything else is a bonus. But what is that one thing? And then also, at the end of the day, write about what is your most storyable thing that happened that day. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then you can kind of start to like preemptively do it. Like, oh, I'm going to build my story today. Like, this is the thing I'm going to do for my story.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool method of living. And he suggested that that is one of the ways that help him perceive time slower. It was almost like savoring time, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And that helps me big time when I go like, dude, like what is my end all be all goal of the day? Because it's just like today, like I really, this week I'm really trying to get done the audio and have the video going for this last like and all thing. But today's Brittany's birthday. So today it was just like my top priority was just, my top priority was just setting up like getting balloons, ordering this, just doing just birthday stuff. So it's like, and it sounds so basic and so stupid, but I have to tell myself like, you'll do your work stuff tomorrow, relax. And it was fun to like get the balloons. So, like it's shit she usually does for me and like hang up the little streamers and stuff. So she'll be excited when she comes home.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I almost feel like an ape without any thumbs. Like the first time I go to like plan an event that women have been doing,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, because you don't understand, like, okay, how do I create this environment? And then you just go into it, it's like, oh, okay, they got to get these little stringy things. And then I got to put balloons over here. Then maybe I put a little, like, these lights over here. And then you go to the store, and again, you sound like a fucking ape. You're like, can I get the stringy things? Like, where do I find the stringy things?
Yeah.
There's all of this texture that women do a great job of building these environments that men, like, in general, we have no idea.
Yep, it was stringy things. It was like the paper balls that fold out. I'm like looking at them like, how the fuck do these attach? Yeah, it was that was fun. So today, that's all I'm doing today is that kind of stuff, and then I'm gonna run out and get some gifts today after this. So
hell yeah,
that's that. I can't stress enough. The only reason I'm saying that because like before I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get some work done. And it's like, dude, if I get some work done, cool. But like this is my top priority today. I'm gonna see this all the way through, and I'll be back, doing my thing.
Yeah. Dude, one thing I'd like to throw out there to the guys, and I haven't been good at this recently, but when I'm really on top of my game, I found this to be incredibly helpful, which is at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the quarter, look at, like I have this consolidated calendar that I have in my spreadsheet that is just the most high-level view of only the most important events of the year. So like my mom's birthday, girlfriend's birthday, and so on. And there's usually on like one or two a month.
Yeah.
And then I have sort of preliminary task list associated with that. And I usually do it on the Christmas flight home for the next year, because then I can start saying, like, and I force myself, I put on some music, I make it a fun thing, force myself to say, okay, like, what do I want to do for my mom's birthday? And then I have a spreadsheet of action items in the same workbook. And it's just like I jot down all these ideas, and it's just like, so here's this little grid. It's like, it's the brainstorm. And then here's, some things I start to put it together in a plan, because that helped me so much. It's like kind of like my annual view. So much easier than then scrambling the last, like, it's like, oh shit.
The day of, yes.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, man. What happens is, then you'll forget sometimes. No, what happens to me is like, the day just comes up and I'm like, shit. And then I've been like, I'll like kind of bullshit something. Then you just feel shitty and you feel bad and you're like, I'm a fucking asshole. So so definitely, I agree with you, man. It's like that next year, I'm definitely going to map this out a lot better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. And I would highly recommend having baseline things. So like I ordered a bunch of birthday cards. Like I went out and bought a bunch, and Valentine's Day cards and all those types of things. So I already I have a box of those at my house.
Great idea.
And then also baseline plans, which would be like, okay, like for my girlfriend, I'm going to order flowers. Okay, where am I going to order flowers? And all of it's in the spreadsheet. That way it's just like minimized, almost to the point where I could get, my intern to do it, right? To get all of that stuff. So that's some level of baseline. So it kind of protects you. It's a hedge against like the last minute, oh shit, I don't have a card. I didn't get cupcakes and do all that stuff. And then also, just if the guys will benefit from this, I have a list of everybody important in my life, especially like the females, mom, girlfriend, etc., of what are their favorite things. So I have it in my Evernote, and every single time my girlfriend or my mom say, oh, like I love this thing, I then write it down in their own document that says like their favorite things. So I know what my girlfriend's favorite restaurants are, what her favorite foods are, what all of those, or that thing that she looked at the farmer's market, the bracelet that she likes. And I'm not saying that to brag by any means. I'm saying because it fucking saves me all the time.
Yeah.
So then when I go to plan a birthday or whatever, I just open up that document, and then all of a sudden you get those 2, 3, 4 things, and you're like, oh my God, like how did you remember, like all that stuff. But it's actually extremely simple.
Hell yeah, dude. I actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's been the focus of today. And really, it's like, it helps me, because otherwise I'm trying to kind of do like 20 things at once, and I end up like doing like 1/20th of like 4 of those 20 things. And I'm like, so it's like, if I can be like, this is the mission. And then like you were saying before, and I think this is worth repeating, of like having your definite off period, where it's like, hey, I'm done 5 p.m. no matter what, I'm done. If there's like an emergency type of thing, that's fine. But and I think a lot of people struggle, because it's like an either or. Either you can't turn it off or you can't turn it on. So like if you can't turn it off, you can't turn it on. It's like, well, that's almost easier, I feel like, to like just do 2 things today, do 3, blah blah blah. So, but yeah, today, dude, I think I'm going to. I was telling you, dude, I think I'm going to just pop people up at random and just check in with people real quick. Maybe like
do it.
A little lightning round, dude, of a minute. If you see it, if you don't want to do it, just reject it, no problem. And
what's good?
What's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
Dogs? Not much, man. I'm getting ready to fly out. I'm in Buffalo for the last day today. So I'm, up north trying to go see Ray. I've, considered swimming across. Justin won't let me in.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nice.
MB, the reason for this lightning round, I'm personally curious as to what percentage of people know what they want out of life. So, what do you want?
Big questions. Honestly, this is
the most important question to any human.
What would you say? Say that one more time.
I said, arguably the most important question to humans.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a hard question, loaded question. Ultimately, I think, hitting my 30s, I had to readjust and figure out, hey, what do I really want? You start out with the career focus and money. Everybody's got to have money. And I've realized it's not everything. This year, having the changes that I had with going through all these big things, it's one of those things where I've learned, like, happiness is ultimately your best thing. And the connections that you make with other people are really where you're going to find that. You can't live life alone. You can't do everything alone. So considering this group, my family, being things like that, you'll find that the happiness is really what I'm looking for. So, it's one of those things where you can't fill that up with material things. You can't fill it up with like a nice house. You can be in a nice house and be empty on the inside. So ultimately, I'm trying to find that happiness and keep it consistent instead of the up and down kind of roller coaster of life, making sure that I'm surrounding myself with the right people, because I find if I do that, then ultimately I'm going down that same path.
So if you had to sum it up in like 10 words, what do you think it would be?
10 words.
Oh, God. He's really
making
fucking me
the
up
right
here, bro.
connections with the right people
Hell yeah.
to get myself where I want to be.
All right. Hell yeah.
Now do it just in facial expressions. What you want only in facial expressions.
I'm the worst at
It's
that.
hard to solidify because I can be a dick and go, why do you want to do that? And then you just keep going down
No,
this
yeah.
little
You can
rabbit
go
hole,
down
and
that
it's
rabbit
like-
hole. I mean, ultimately, I think the biggest thing is, for so long, I thought I had to do it all by myself, and I realized I can't do that. So this year, 2021, has just been my year of making sure I'm solidifying the connections with my family, solidifying the connections with the good people in my life that are benefiting me, that are helping me get to my goals, versus trying to do everything on my own.
Hell yeah, man. I love that. That's awesome. I must give you hard times. I've been giving myself a hard time on this and trying to get like a laser specific answer, and it's really difficult.
No,
Oh, yeah. Well, Matt, what is Matthew McCusker? What is your answer?
Yeah.
Really, the thing that I think, and, it's always this bullshit preamble, I think, but I have it nailed down to the fact that I just want to give my family a good life, and
That's awesome.
So that's it. That's all. That's like my top priority. And it now that I kind of, and it was funny too because I was reading this book. I think it's this one, and this is the one that hits you with, why, that's like the top question. And
Sorry, what was it called?
The Glorious Presence. But they go through this little. It's really good. So they go through this. Let me see if I can find it. Well, here we go. The point of the whole thing is a lot of times people can get kind of like very, in my deal, I'll get very logic based, like, well, I want to give them a good life, and it's like, why do you want to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And the question answer thing, it's like, someone says, it's like you have to answer, what do you want? And someone says, like, I want, a certain job. And it's like, why do you want the job? It's like, to get some money. Why do you want some money? To buy food and eat. Why do you want to eat? To stay alive. Why do you want to stay alive? To look after my wife and children. And why do you want to look after your wife and children? So, well, I guess I love them. So a lot of times, like, the thing boils down to almost like a vague kind of ideal at the very, very bottom of it. And that was when I was able to, I was trying to, consciously boil it down, and I would just, I'd hit a bunch of, dead ends and, little kind of, circles in my brain. And then eventually I was just thinking about it, and it's like, yeah, I just genuinely want to give them a good life, as good as possible as I can. And it's just throughout the day, all the stuff that would typically bother me, I can just filter it right through that thing and be like, does that affect that? No, okay, forget it. It's not perfect, but it helps, So.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
awesome.
all. I would say that's my top priority. And you can have more than one too. You can have 5 things. You don't just have to have just one. But
yeah, awesome. Well, I think both answers are great. Cool.
hell yeah. All right, Matthew Bland. I'm gonna grab someone else up, dude. So get nervous.
Good seeing you, Matthew Bland.
dude.
Have a good day,
Later,
brother.
What do you think, Wes? What would you answer that question?
Oh, that's a rough one. I would say for me, the thing I consistently comes up is that I'm just unbelievably passionate about. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's helping ambitious people make progress. If I could spend my entire day doing that, which right now 85% of my day is spent doing that, I fucking love it. That's very specific wording. I like when somebody comes in with an ember of ambition, because ambition is hard to create. You kind of have to have that hunger. But what I love doing is fanning the flame and saying oh, just do this or just do this, and doing it myself. So it's a team effort. That's why the circle, not a triangle. I just fucking love it. And this guy, Mr. Delco, is a prime fucking example of just giving me the honor of being able to be on the same team of somebody on that hunt, man. So Delco Jim, what's up, brother?
Yo, what is up, dudes?
How's the face doing, man?
Dude, well, a little update. I can move my eyebrow now, which is
Hell
dope.
yeah. People's eyebrow or no?
A little bit, not too much, but I can only I'm still blinking with one eye, so I'm still getting maced every day.
What?
That sucks.
Why do they mace you?
I'm just joking. It's a joke.
Oh, okay. Is that a medical treatment? I'm like, fuck.
No. Women on the street are macing me.
Gotcha.
Anyway, yeah, how's it going, dudes?
Good, man. I was curious if you had an answer to that gigantic question as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to be a fucking stand-up comedian. Like, that's number one on my list right now. It's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the bookings are starting to come in. It's starting to feel real.
Nice, man.
Fucking right, man. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, your journey has been awesome, and I will say for the people who are watching, it's also predictable because you're putting in the inputs. You know, so for these people who think, and I'm sure Doko Jim, I've definitely been in that position where it's like, I don't know if I can do it. It's these other guys can do it, Matt can do it, but there's something different about them that's not me. And then I'm fortunate to have people in my life, people on this team and other mentors, et cetera, that say, shut up. It's just input. Like, just go doing these things, and then you do it for long enough and you will receive the reward for it. So it's I'm fucking pumped for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Like, I got to open for a comedian that I really liked, and I was able to like tell my family about it and have them come to the show and have them like be like, hey, like, look, this is like a real thing I'm doing. It's not just some fucking like hobby that I'm funneling money into. I like love this shit. So it's like, I don't know. It's I can like see myself progressing and like, you know, putting the work in, like doing this shit every night. It's just, you know, it's exhilarating.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hell yeah, man.
It's crazy, you know, like trying to, you know, making a lot of connections with people. I don't know. It's weird. I just feel like I went so long just like listless, not knowing where I wanted to go with my life, not, you know, feeling like I was making any type of progress. And now I'm just like, damn, I just, you know, I put myself in a position where I get to do what I really always wanted to do, and it's fucking paying off. Like, I don't know, I'm fucking really happy at the moment.
Oh yeah, man.
It's keeping it's keeping me going through, you know, this crazy shit going on with, you know, facial paralysis. So it's like, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, that was some pretty good timing. That was pretty awesome timing.
Yeah.
But hell yeah. It sucks that, you know, it's definitely an inconvenience, but
yeah, I mean, but you know what?
If you weren't doing that,
it's just rolling with the punches, and I think that's, you know, what, you know, did it. I kind of just, you know, I'm dedicated. I didn't give it up. So
yeah. Well, there was a video I watched it. We were watching it in the Church of Dogology on Sunday. It was an Academy of Idea video about Nietzsche and Dionysus, the Greek god, and how the one cool thing I took away from it is the idea of what he calls the great health, which is like the ability to kind of withstand negative events in life. Sounds kind of basic, but it's like being able to kind of like take the good with the bad and like not turn into, I think what they called like a prophet of death, or one of those guys who just becomes like inherently negative. Who like you go through that little wheel. That was like the medieval idea of like Fortuna's wheel. It's like you're up high, you go down, you just kind of go up and down this thing. And sometimes before you make the full revolution, people just tap out and go, "Fuck this, dude! Everything fucking sucks." And then it's like, you know, and you're just like, meh. But yeah, the Dionysus video it's Academy of Ideas, Nietzsche and Dionysus. It's pretty cool. They talk about that. Like, it's all part and parcel. It's all part of the same package. You almost got to take the good with the bad, and, you know, just try to turn. If you can turn the bad into the good, then you're like top level Jedi tricks. So
I just felt like, you know, I had like two goals going into the year, and it was to do stand up and stick with it, and to become more financially literate, because I come from a long line of people who did not know what they were doing with their money. So like, I really just so basically, from the two most recent jobs I had, I just got my stock options fully vested, which was really cool, because for the longest time I just had this like Fidelity account, like information just like sitting around, and I figured out how to like, you know, set it up and everything, and that's really cool. And now I fucking, you know, I got my stock options and my Robinhood and my, you know, my savings and shit. It's cool. You know, I just, I feel like there's a lot of pressure lifted off of me now that I've got like a little bit of an idea of how I got to go about this. And like, I've had like a bunch of, you know, people along the way that are like, hey, if you're going to do this comedy thing, make sure you fucking save your money. And I'm like, yeah, that's really important. And I wasn't thinking about that at all. So
yeah, you're kind of just with that, and I think with anything really, if you're trying to get into something and kind of like get out of the, let's say, like drudgery of a job you don't like,
Yeah.
save your money like ridiculously, like almost like Spartan mode, because you're just buying your freedom.
Yep.
It's like you're able to buy your way out of it, and then you buy these little periods. You're like, okay, I can not work for 5 months according to my finances and just let them burn out. And you do it, and then you just, all right, you know, you save yourself a little bit so you don't get evicted. And then it's like, all right, back to a job. I made 5 months without, you know, and you just, that's something I would do a lot, where it's like, I have enough money to not work for 6 months. I'm out. I'm gonna go work somewhere else. You know, I'll let that come like 2 months into it. If it's not paying my bills, I'll just go back to work. But like using money like that is like has been really helpful.
Yeah, I fucking, you know, I have like kind of like a perfect thing going on right now. Like with the job I have, I work early mornings at a coffee shop. So like even if I have a late night out where I don't get to go on and do comedy until like real late, I can rebound quickly because I can go in and have a fucking cup of coffee. Nice. And it doesn't matter that I'm like losing sleep or whatever. But like, you know, I just balancing like work life, you know, North Star goal. That's like, you know, I don't know, just sticking to it. And then like the scorecard is really important to me because it helps me stay, you know, balanced. You know, my parents are on the scorecard. My dad's dropping weight like crazy. My mom, she bought a treadmill or whatever. It hasn't become a coat rack yet, which is dope. But like, you know, he's definitely seeing the dividends paying off as well. He's like, you know, he's loving life.
Fucking right. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Scorecard is for the whole family.
Hell yeah. Please tell them I say congratulations for putting in that effort, man. That's awesome. Yeah, and congratulations to you for being a leader, bud.
Yeah, man.
Good.
Pretty sick.
Hell yeah.
DJ, all right, brother.
Good seeing you, bro. On. Matt, if you don't mind, you mind if I run to the little boys' room real quick?
Absolutely, bro. Do your thing.
Okay. All right, I will be back.
Let me get the Gonth, brother. The Gonth, if you can't, no big deal. Again, feel free to reject any of these. It's not a humongous deal. Oh my God. All right, Gunther is in the office. Let's see what's going on here. What up, Wes?
Hey, sorry, dude.
That was quick.
I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Are you peeing?
No. I want to make sure you can get somebody on before I.
Oh, you're good, man. I'll.
No wait, dude. Never.
Let me see. Yeah, just start peeing, dude. It'd be awesome.
But I was actually thinking about it. But I love the question. Like, tell us what you want.
Yeah, man. It's a. What up, Don?
What's up,
Don,
guys?
what is up, brother? I'm gonna let you guys play this real quick.
Thank you, Wes. Don, the question is posed, dude. If someone were asking, what do you want? What is it? What the fuck do you want?
Probably the thing I'm striving towards the most right now is just really hammering in my career. Get that really dialed in. I've been doing really well there, so. But the whole purpose behind that is to really start the foundations for, you know, building a family. And that's probably my number one goal right now. Is I'm getting a little shaky just thinking about it, but I didn't really have a good father figure, so that's kind of where my head's at, is becoming the best father figure I can be and really giving my kids legs to stand on, because I wasn't really given anything.
Well, yeah, that's a really beautiful thing to do, to be honest, especially like what you're saying. Like if you're saying there wasn't like the exact example there and you want to kind of create it, that's a really meaningful kind of mission, man. So that's what's up. So what do you think needs to be done to lay, you know, I know you're saying you're doing the job, you're doing this. What do you think needs to be done to lay the foundation for like family life?
So everyone definitely has their own values. For me personally, monetary value isn't really one of my main concerns. I could, you know, provide for a family off of a relatively small amount of.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I think you're.
But for me, the main goal for starting a family is really learning like who I am as a person and what kind of values I could bring to the table as the kind of figure in a child's life. So really like honing in those skills, whether it's communication or learning how to control your emotions in the best way possible, and just bring the light to the table for other people. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Oh yeah, man.
Whether it's in my team at work or something else, yeah.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's awesome, and that's That really is, man. That's a big one. That's especially with the family stuff. It's like you do have to. You gotta do a ton of stuff for other people, but it's also you can't not do stuff you can't lose touch of doing things for yourself as well. Because if you burn out, it's like all that it can start to become a problem. Even though you're technically like I'm doing all the right things, it's like if you kind of forsake yourself. So that's what's up, man. That quest, I would definitely still make time for yourself and figure out like what are the things that you need in order to like not feel like you're underwater. And I do this for myself all the time.
It's definitely a fine balance. I've struggled with that most of my life. I usually put myself last, which is, great for being a leader, apparently. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But whatever. We all have our own shit to work through. I'm getting there. I start PT on Monday, so finally got use of my right arm. Feeling pretty stoked about that. I was crawling through somebody's attic. I slipped and just completely dislocated it in one of the worst ways possible.
Damn.
But just had surgery.
Was this at work or were you chilling just like in the attic?
I was working, yeah. Luckily I still have my job.
You're hiding from the SS, dude.
Yeah, I was creeping. I was trying to...
Damn, dude. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, nice, man.
All right. Thanks for
brother.
pulling me on.
Absolutely, man. Get the give, man. Go. Yeah, I wanted to do this for a while, man. I wanted to just start checking in with people and getting a little more interactive because, at the end of the day, I do it all the time. I just like listen to shit and I'm like, yeah, it sounds cool, but at the end of the day, it's like, what's up? What up? MFG, what's up, brother? What's happening?
What's up, dog?
Dude, questions on the table, dude. What do you want? What do you want out of life? It can be 5 things, it can be 1 thing, but like, how would you answer the question?
What I want out of life, honest self-expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because at this point, man, fucking everything on the outside world is not going well.
Really?
I mean, it is what it is, but there's a lot of things that are just so far out of my control right now that it's fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just literally I feel like the outside world just constantly objectively tells me I'm a fucking loser. It's like yeah, and it's hard. I mean, 3-4 years ago I really made a conscious decision to change my life, and it's an uphill fucking battle. I mean, just the economy up here. I mean, I make $15 an hour to do skilled craftsman work. I mean, I put some of my work up here that I do, and it's like then on a lunch break, I'll go get some bunless burgers at McDonald's and see they're hiring for like $2 an hour more than I make. It's
kind of nuts.
It sucks, dude. And it's one of those things where there's nothing that can be done about it. Like that just, really? it just is what it is right now. You know what I mean? It's like my living situation. I can't afford to fucking move out of where I'm at, living in my family's house.
Yeah.
And I can't. There's just no escape hatch for that. Just that kind of is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like I can't even afford to move out. I'm 36. I can't afford to have a family. It's really challenging to live without hope. You know, and live without logical hope. Like I'm not even being like pity party, woe is me. I just mean like, okay, so where does this go by the numbers? You know what I mean? It's like that's.
So here's a question. I hear what you're saying, and that that can get kind of grim. In terms, I've seen the stuff you do. Like you do like super high skilled and like kind of really niche kind of work. So is it because the area doesn't really pay for it, or is it like is there any way to extend your scope and your kind of reach with like Instagram or even work somewhere where those kind of skills are more highly valued monetarily?
I mean, the short answer is not right now. It's a complicated. I mean, I'm up against some, kind of fairly unique challenges. I mean, I live in a town of 2,500 people.
Yeah.
And it's not a very densely populated state, anyways. So, like, we are the premier sign shop in Maine and really most of New England, which. Sure. That's again, it is what it is. There's limitations financially within the operation, but that's the other crux of it. I really enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, well, could I go make? I mean, right now, Christ, man, they're paying like $20 an hour to work at gas stations up here.
Yeah.
Like, there's I don't know what it's like in other parts of the country, but we are big seasonal in Maine, so we have fucking such a working shortage that, like, I could do things to make more money, but even then, I see the value in enjoying what I do and being happy and fulfilled. So it's just kind of really being stuck in like, all right, well, if I want to go make more money, I've made plenty of money in my life and been financially successful, and I was miserable. So it's just, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like there are options, but it's I don't know if I'm making sense with that, but it's like
makes perfect sense.
You kind of choose what you're gonna choose. It's like fuck, but sometimes you just get fucking burnt out. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, dude, like I don't have fucking floors in my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this fucking concrete fucking. I'm living like a fucking monk over here. You know, there's a sauna. Fucking. This is kind one room living. You know what I mean? Like.
For sure. No,
it's
for sure.
just. Yeah, it's hard to just keep your shit together. You know what I mean? Because like.
Yeah.
You know. And you know, along with doing all the actual work and taking responsibility. Hey.
Sure.
Ray saying it sounds like Spud. That's scary.
Nah, Spud lived in a house
Dude.
that had literally like no roof for a while. But
Spud's a fucking genius, man.
He's an animal. But yeah, so a couple things. He said if you need a website, he'll build you one. Do you work for another person? Cool. Yeah, this is obviously the man. Do you work for another person?
Yeah.
Okay, so you work for another company. I mean, dude, there's like, I know it seems like things are out of your control, but there's like, I think there's a ton of wiggle room. It's like, so you're a skilled dude. First of all, that's like the number one top thing. You're skilled. You know how to do it. Have you had any conversations about like, yo, bro, I need a couple more bucks?
Yeah, and it's just not happening.
What do they say?
I mean, that's a big conversation, but right now there's just not money on the table for it.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. If you like to answer, I mean, your answer to it was like you just kind of want to do some form of like honest self-expression. So it's like there's other question is like, is that possible to take your skills and your interest to somewhere else and still do that? You know, that you could be valued for and make more money, or even starting a little side hustle of selling like just shit like stuff you can machine together and ship out. Like, you know, again, I don't know exactly what I know you like to make. Do you like just to make signs or like what? Where does your like stuff make end?
I do everything, man. I do produce and sell some artwork from here to there. Like if you go on my Instagram, there's a pretty good amount of like murals, large scale geometric stuff.
Yeah.
Fine line stuff. So it's kind of any visual art. You know what I mean? Making signs is just a way that kind of the intersection of my background in construction and art was able to intersect in engineering stuff, you know? But yeah, it's just getting patient, man. You know what I mean? It's like I'm a naturally depressed dude, and it's something I proactively try to set myself up for success to bolster myself against slipping down into that depression. But it's
Yeah, it's tough, man, especially too, like you were saying before, I believe you said you worked in finance, you had the money going, but there was a lack of kind of meaning and purpose. And like, dude, living a kind of artistic and creative life is like extremely difficult. So, you know, sometimes you can think about like the soul dead feeling of like, you know, maybe you're at that job and you're like, man, this fucking sucks. That can kind of help, but it's like I've said before, there's no shame in like to support creative endeavors, to just go back into the belly of the beast, drum up a couple of bucks, and then, you know, go back to the stuff you're doing before. So, you know, I think I'm just curious to try to figure out, because, you know, that is your reality, and, you know, it's not like, oh, just do this and do that, but it's like,
right.
I think there are moves you can break. You know, it's like if you're a skilled dude and there's the internet and there's like, even if it's just like within the scope of like still kind of creative, like I'm thinking like custom dog houses and shit you can ship out to people and put them just to like make extra bucks.
Right.
But it's because that's a difficult one. I dealt with that a lot, where it's like I want to do my creative work, but I'm out of money, and be like, all right, like I would just go back and work for an electrician. I'd hate it. You know, it was cool and all, but like I would just be like, after like 4 months, I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. But again, I'd have to like really try to save my money up and do all this stuff. So yeah, man, that's tough. And also like, you know, the other part of it is like letting that define you in a way that's inherently negative, because you can see value in the fact that like you're principled, you know, you have clear values, you're a skilled person, And right now, it's just the money's the one thing that's kind of hanging stuff up, which, you know, sucks, definitely. But, you know, that doesn't have to be an inherently negative self-identifying thing where it's like, I'm a loser, I'm blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you're killing it on a bunch of different dimensions. It's just this little money stuff that needs to be figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Do you mind if I throw something out there?
Yeah, please.
So I'm not saying my view is right, but I'll give you kind of the raw, unfiltered. If you were my brother, here's what I tell you. Number one, I think you have a massive edge on 99% of other people because of the stuff that you showed earlier with your floors and so on. You understand? Most people are not willing to live the Spartan type of lifestyle to get what they want. It is a prerequisite, in my opinion. So, and I think all three of us have shared that. Like, there's a commonality for sure. I won't bore you with all the details, but 100%. And I can tell you, Matt for sure is willing to do it. I've done it. Like, that is a prerequisite to be able to get to where you want, because inevitably there's going to have to be some sort of sacrifice. And that's the great news. Like, I think that's one of your biggest assets. You're willing to fucking do that, and because you're doing it right now. And the dirty little secret is that it's not fucking fun, you know, because I do think some people looking from the outside would be like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, you got the mental strength to do it. It's like, yeah, but it's kind of fucking inconvenient when it's winter time, you know, number one, like these types of things, like, it's not a glamorous thing to do. That's almost why it's appealing. But it's like, knowing that it's appealing from an intellectual standpoint is not the same thing as actually fucking going through it. So, but it's a huge fucking asset. The other thing is, what Matt is saying is spot on, in my opinion. Number one, with the question of what do you want? And I think mapping that out over time, what do you want now? What do you want in the future? And what have you wanted in the past, to make sure that it's not just like a whim. Really reconcile, and then saying, okay, if this is what I want, there should almost be a different word for it, because let's just say that's the word, or let's just say it's the it could be you desire something, or let's say you want something. It's just like, okay, well, you can just verbally say you want anything. Okay, well, I want $1 billion. Okay, fine. But if you desire something, let's say it has to be the mix of what do you want, what also what are you willing to work? Like, what are you willing to input for it? And those, I think, are the things that we truly need to be focusing on, not the wants, or however you want to term it. Like, it should not be called the same thing. What you want and what you will work for oftentimes are two different things. Sure, now, if you can find what those things are, it's like, fuck yeah. Then you focus all of your resources on accomplishing. It's not going to be a million things. It's probably like 5 things. But all of a sudden, if you can remove the elementary wants, so that they're not just some sort of flash in the pan, you can now focus all of your fucking energy on the handful of things that move the needle. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the secret is it's not fucking enjoyable, especially if you want to accomplish something that's outside of the norm. Yeah. Whether it be producing art and selling art and so on, which I think is fucking great. The great news is there's never been a better fucking time in history to do that. Right? Like, it used to have to be like, you either have like a fucking art shop or you go out to a farmer's market to sell your shit. Well, now you have a 24/7 art shop and farmer's market on the internet, which is kind of a gift and a curse, because it's increased the level of competition, but it's also given you, I would say, on a net basis, way more visibility to people all over the world. And the pain that you're dealing with, the depression and so on, I personally think that's also an asset, because if you can put that visually, or you can put that, like, your story on there, so many people will relate to that fucking story. And the fact that you're still producing even in that state, I think is fucking brilliant. I think maybe some people will look at it as the cross to bear. I think it's the asset that's been given to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, as long as I don't kill myself before that, we'll be good.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's like that's it's like, you know, I know things are getting bad when I got to call somebody and give them my gun to hold on to for a couple of weeks, you know?
Yeah,
it happens,
dude, man. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, so I can tell you from experience, I spent, I don't know how much fucking time building my last presentation to present to people who should never be listening to me, right? Like, on paper, like, that's what's going on in my head, right? These people are worth a lot of money, right? Like, tens of millions of dollars. And so I put everything I can into this presentation, trying to, like, find, like, every single detail, right? You know what the feedback was the most? Was when I told them the story of how I grew up poor and how my mom was a single mom. That's what brought them into having another meeting with me. So it was that pain that was attractive because it was authentic. So that is my biggest asset, not the intellectual, like I can show you spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet. It's more of like, holy shit, I can recognize that guy's pain. So I think that's a huge value for you, man. And obviously it's fucking painful, but in that pain is the value.
For sure, and especially if it's getting to the point, like you were saying, like it's getting that extreme where it's like, I don't want to have guns around. It's like, well, you know, and that's usually the sign of like, a lot of times that thinking comes with like, there's no other way. And it's like, there is always, and I'm not being a dick, there's always a big drastic change you can make. And, you know, and it's like, in terms of like finding another place to work at. Because a lot of times too, like you're getting like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're getting kind of like able to like creatively express yourself at this place, but they're not paying you enough to have like the other dimensions of life you want to put in your, you know, including your life. So maybe switch it up and just work for money and then create for kind of, you know, artistic pleasure. You might have to, sometimes I'd had to do it a bunch of times. I have to pull those domains apart because like, you know, it's just not, it's not cutting it on a couple levels. So it's like separate those domains, go work, you know, and now, especially too, once you kind of want a family, for me, it kind of like heightens the value of those jobs that were experienced as kind of like soul dead, where it's like, I'm not doing this, it sucks, it's boring. Now it's like, well, I have a reason to do this, and I can do all my cool stuff too that kind of keeps me sustained and keeps me kind of, you know, passionate for living. But yeah, when you try to like meld those two, and it kind of can frustrate you on double levels. That again, I know what you're saying, like, oh man, there's no way out of this. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like I understand that kind of thinking, but like you'd be surprised, especially in this is like, it doesn't be like, just don't be depressed, but like when you're in that depressive mode, it makes that seem much more truer than it is. So I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, like, you're absolutely right.
It fucks you up.
Yeah, it alters your perception.
And that dead end thinking is really dangerous. It's like, well, yeah, I guess it is dangerous, but it's very like, and it's like, we get stuff out of that. It's like, oh, it's a dead end. There's nothing, and it's just, your brain just starts going, and just squishing you with all kinds of negative shit. And it's like, you know, there's always, you know, there's a way to kind of, there's always moves to be busted and everything. And it's like, and, you know, it's just, it's hard figuring out. It's like, it's not overnight, and it's, you know, so I would say definitely the top challenge is like trying to, you know, we know it sucks. It's like, try to start finding those little things that are actually pretty tight. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, you have access to nature, you have all this other stuff. It's like, now, you know, how can we broaden that out to kind of start building like the relationships and the kind of family stuff you want to do?
Well, that's the challenge. It's like I'm good within myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy, but then it's like anytime I have to go to the outside world, you know what I mean? Like I think about like, you know, it'd be nice to have a family again. You know what I mean? Like
of course,
I'm like you. I'm going back for the third time now. I've been married twice too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like I've had the family. I've had, you know what I mean? And so now to have none of that, you know, it's like, it's just, it just becomes overwhelming because it's like, you know, I am looking at it logically and looking at the outside world, and it's like, shit, I'm aware that it's not any better anywhere else. And that's the hard part, is like thinking through it and being like, well, if I make this move, I'll be a cunt hair ahead this way, but it's going to draw me back that way. You know, so it's like, that's just part of it, I guess. I don't know, just accepting what is the way it is right now. I mean, everything's kind of fucked, and, you know, and again, I'm not blind to the fact that I have it better than 99% of the people. You know, like I'm very aware that both my external circumstances are way better than the majority of people. But it's it just gets fucking just overwhelming, I guess would be the word. I don't know.
No, absolutely, man.
And that just like, you know, I'm a pretty fucking solo dude out here. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll be honest, you don't have a big desire. I mean, I can't in good conscience go out spending money doing social shit when I make $15 an hour. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be economically responsible because I want to move towards those goals. But also too, it's like, hey man, it don't feel too good trying to date chicks being like, yeah, no, I make about what you make at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, I live in my mom's house. That's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's what I would say. It's like, and yeah, you're 100% right, but it's like, you'd be surprised. There's people who are totally cool.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, you'd be surprised how cool people are with that. And, you know, especially when you're getting into like the, you know, you're 36, you start getting into the 30s and you're dating other women relatively in that, you know, if that's the scope you're going, unless you're, you know, you're trying to like, date hot co-eds, you know, and whatever you want to do is what you do.
I'm a grown-up.
But it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, no judgment here. But you'd be surprised, man, because, you know, you get into your 30s and the dating scene becomes kind of like, come on, let's go. It's like, that stuff you're describing that can be kind of shameful and painful and like, I don't want any. I mean, most people, especially like in our like kind of lifespan, it's kind of normal for people to be living with their parents. Before it was kind of like, oh, this. Now like a lot of people do it, and I don't know, man. I personally think it kind of rules. I go back to my parents' house all the time, and it's like I was always like, oh, I don't want to live here, and I'm like, that would have been sick. I should have done like 10 years here. Well, I mean, I couldn't have because I was like selling weed and shit, but they would have been down with that. But
yeah, right.
But like, dude, I'm telling you, man, like it sucks. I know it sucks, but I would really be very. Well, you know, you said it before. Start accepting the circumstances and be very careful to prejudge your circumstances as inherently negative, and then buying into them. It's one thing. Yeah, I could be like, oh, fuck that. That sucks. I could see why it's painful. I definitely can. But you know, be like, go out on dates. Let your experience be your guide, rather than being like, oh, they're not going to want to deal. That's going to be embarrassed. It's like, well, then get a little bit embarrassed, man. Anything's better than like being like, I can't have guns in my house. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
like,
just sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, that's it. That's kind of
yeah. So one thing I could add, I'm 100% certain about this, and you know I say this out of love and respect. You're wrong about the female thing. I can tell you that one of the last things a female wants to hear is like, yeah, my name's John Smith, and I'm an accountant. I do accounts receivable for X, Y, and Z Corporation, and I come home and I watch TV, and then I go to bed and I go be an accountant the next day. And then I go to church every Sunday at 10 a.m. I can tell you that the story that's way more attractive is like, I'm a fucking Spartan and I'm on this path, and here's what I'm committed to doing. Like, to the point where I deliberately took 3 steps back so I could take 20 steps forward for my future family.
True.
That narrative, dude, will trump Mr. Accountant every fucking day of the week if you own it. It's all about the positioning, and the positioning is if you really believe in it, right? Your own path, which you do. So that is infinitely more attractive. The only thing you have to get around, like, you just have to get to the first conversation, right? Which is not very difficult nowadays, right? Like, you know, like, you will do it, but own your fucking story. If you try to hide it, right, or to like position it as like, oh yeah, I know, and be ashamed of it, fuck, that's never gonna work. That's never gonna work. But right. Own your fucking story, and if you have that North Star goal of building a family, which is kind of what I heard, I know it came in kind of towards the tail end of what you were saying, man, that is like, number one, super admirable. One of the most admirable things that a man can do is give up his path of quote, self-reliance and pure independence to build a family. Like, it's why on my coffee mug I have right here, this is so it's Wes, Debbie, Rose, which is my mother, and my grandmother's name, and then wife and son. It's to remind me to not be a Peter Pan, and to remind me that my story is building up for the future. When my son asks me, Dad, what should I do? And I tell him to go take risks and actually be his own man, that I fucking lived it, right? Not just saying, oh, go and do it, and then I'm John Smith, the accountant. That's not fucking how I choose to live. And I'm saying that for your benefit. You're doing that right now for your future story to your future son, right? Or your future daughter, right? So like, now you just need to find a woman who has that Spartan mindset as well, and don't fuck around with any of the other women, right?
Yeah,
if they're interested in John Smith accountant, let them go. That's not for you.
For sure, man. And it's like, you got to keep light on your horizon, man. That's like, you know, like Wes is saying, it's like, these are highly actionable items. Will it go perfect right away? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know. But it's like that for me, I always need that thing. Like, if I start doing what you're doing in terms of, like, I've done it to myself before, I box myself in. I go, oh my God, there's no way out of this. You know, you know this too. I was married before. I'm fucking married. There's no way out. Oh my God, I'm gonna you know, her and her mom are making me do all these things, or they're trying at least to like make me into a person I don't want to be. And you know, I have these kind of like urges to create things, and they're like intensely frustrated, and I've like just boiled down to just like a toxic sludge at multiple times in my life. And it's like, you have to keep that light on your horizon, like you were saying. Like, these are the things you want, just start going out. There's nothing to lose. If you feel that way, just start going after them even harder, and like, you know, and start putting as much as the effort into all the internal introspective work you were doing into just like getting into the weird areas of like going outside yourself and dealing with relationships. And you know, it's weird and it's uncomfortable, but you know, it's definitely very doable, dude. in terms of like
Oh,
the
yeah.
dating world. You're skilled. You have the potential to kind of take your skills, you know, eventually wherever you want to do. Like, trust me, like if shit hits the fan, you'd be able to go out right now and go make probably $40 an hour doing, you know, skilled craftsman shit, whatever. And you can always, you know, just for the meantime. And I don't say that to be like, well, you know, you can't do your creative stuff. You can always, trust me, you can always do that stuff on the side while you get these other things situated. And, you know, that's something I have to reconcile with constantly of like, I want to do all this creative stuff and I just go like, fuck, I can't do these 5 things. This is just not going to happen. And then I still have my stuff I do, and it's like, it's difficult, dude. And it's a unique frustration that not a lot of people understand. But yeah, it stinks. But it's one of those things where you can definitely.
So what do you find that helps you with that, man? Because obviously you're at a different spot, but it's the same frustration, just on a different level.
It's just, for me, it's the family stuff, man. I was able to kind of like, I recognize that I need it. And it's a two-way thing, because it's like I can't totally negate my inner needs to the point where I'm like, well, I'll just do it for my family. Because then I'll just become resentful and shitty and like snappy. So it's just a balancing act, man. It's like communicating the things you need to the people you're dealing with in that regard, and being like, hey, I need to carve some space out for myself, while also not, you know, I do this, I'll become like all enveloping where I'm like, leave me alone, let me do my thing. And, you know, just finding a balance to that. And, you know, and also being like, answering why, like, well, why do you want to do any of this stuff? And I feel like if you asked me 5 years ago, it's like, I just want to make like beautiful works of art. I just want something that stands alone through time. And it's like, that's all cool. And I will try to do that eventually, but you know, I wouldn't put that over like being able to be here for my family and, you know, be like, just help people. So I feel like I get more enjoyment out of just kind of helping people. And, you know, I still have my time to do my other stuff, but it's like, it's fallen out of importance in terms of like the recognition and all that other stuff. It's like, it's cool. And I'm going to try to work my hardest to like just make good stuff. But at the same time, like, you know, if I'm eating dinner and if I'm able to grocery shop and pay the bills, I'm cool. So.
Cool.
Well, I think you're on the path, brother. Stay on the fucking path, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
all right, brother.
Hell yeah, dude.
Later on.
Bye, man.
Thank
Cool,
you.
Thank you.
All right, Wes. 12:02. I'm about to vaporize.
What are the things for the week, brother?
Things for the week, obviously big birthday day, so I'm setting up the big birthday. I'm checking that off as we speak. And then I want to, my primary focus is getting the logotherapy video. I'm definitely going to get the audio, I know that, but my total goal is to get the video like done, or at least halfway done. So audio, I have to edit all the audio, add some more audio, but that's my number one goal. Logotherapy
Awesome.
5 will be just on the edge of getting out of here.
Fucking right. All right, for me, I will continue to fail every single week until these things are complete. So, Rhomas, you and first finance video, that's it. That's all I'm like gonna put on the table.
Hell yeah. All right.
Cool.
And
All right,
everybody
dudes,
else,
thank you.
I would challenge people to go to the Discord. And again, I like that too. Just pick one thing this week you want to get done and just put it out into the universe and, you know, reckon with it on Friday.
Yeah, and Chalupa Cabra, I agree. Matt, that was fucking brilliant. The rapid fire, that was awesome. I love that.
That killed me, man. That question, what do you want? I read that and was like, I'm full of shit. I can't even answer that fucking question. And it's like, you know, I'm constantly thinking about it and constantly trying to flesh that out. And like, and it's across multiple dimensions, but having that one total thing is like, it's big.
Hell yeah, man. All right, buddy.
All right.
Catch you on
Later on.
Friday.
See you
Later,
guys.
dudes.